Dude, it's because of the political conversation,
Where?
political difference. If Andhra and Karnataka are the same government,
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Debunked. Today, the Supreet Kondinya, the tech journalist at AIM Network, the brilliant one, and I are going to have a conversation and attempt to debunk aspects regarding a new pulse in India's tech map. And it's coming from Andhra Pradesh. Billions in MOUs, global names betting big, and a 6 gigawatt data center vision have put Andhra Pradesh right alongside Bangalore, Chennai, and Hyderabad in the national technology conversation. So now let's be clear. This isn't about picking favorites. Karnataka built India's original tech engine. Andhra Pradesh is building its own version. Both are moving just in different ways.
and tonight isn't about questioning Andhra Pradesh's rise or speculating Karnataka's legacy. It's about clarifying what's real, what's overhyped, and what actually turns a state into a long-term powerhouse, not just a moment in the news cycle.
Hello and welcome. How's it going?
Hello, Sudhi. All good.
So
Good
are
to be
we all
back.
set? Are you warmed up?
Yes,
I know I
pretty
am very
warm.
excited about this
It's pretty
conversation.
cold, but yeah.
Yeah, well done. Myth one. And of course, Supreet and I have been talking about this for days, since of course all the announcements have been flooding all of us. Supreet, the first one, which is incentives does not equal guaranteed success. So the question is, how do you feel about this? Which is, do subsidies and incentives really solve Andhra Pradesh's talent and infrastructure challenges?
Right. A simple answer, short one, would be that it does, yes, but not fully.
Okay.
Right? There's a lot of aspects to it. Now, just for context, you've spoken a lot about Andhra Pradesh's IT
Yes.
policies, the incentives that they offer.
Yes.
For our audience, the first thing they need to know is that Andhra Pradesh's, key incentive that they're giving is they're offering land to IT companies at a
Right.
very nominal rate, right? Which is 0.99 rupees per acre. That's less than a rupee. They're going to attract some of the top IT and service firms out there. And even Nara Lokesh, in a recent social media post, highlighted that, okay, where.
But I have to say, man,
Yeah.
his social media
Yeah,
game is at the helm.
Right. I mean, it's just brilliant because this is what social media is there for. I think
Yeah.
you just had a brilliant connect with.
Yes.
And you can see he's a man who knows what he's doing.
True.
That's very rare in politics these days. So when he announced a partnership between Andhra Pradesh and Cognizant recently, he did not forget to highlight, and I read. And one more thing, the land is being allotted at just 99 paisa. Welcome to Andhra Pradesh.
Nice.
Cognizant. And then, of course, there were other details.
Right.
The 21.3 acre campus in Vizag, 8,000 direct jobs and all of that. So now the question is, how long do land subsidies go? And, the short answer to that is yes, right now you might offer land at a very low price, but then what happens next? You got to ensure that the infra remains
Because that
solid.
is just the capital
Exactly.
expenditure that you've done.
Exactly. You need to ensure that they're in for the long haul, and all the associated factors with these growth of IT sector, like you have students, a lot of students
Sure.
that are going to graduate and look for opportunities at this company, and you have the surrounding education ecosystem, electricity,
True.
high speed internet, infrastructure, public transport. These are all of some of the other attached
And a
factors.
very important
yeah,
ones.
that you need to take care of. So what many people say, if I were to quickly jump a few aspects ahead,
Sure.
and NASSCOM says that their IT policy 2024 to 2029 relies heavily on government subsidies, tax breaks, and land value capture models to attract investment. And they say that lessons from other states and the global GCC hubs, how they have expanded, says that this shouldn't be the sole factor or even a dominant factor, right? You need to blend in a lot of things such as the
Absolutely.
regulatory ease, a strong private-public partnership, or innovation clusters than just these financial incentives.
So you feel till now
till now.
that as far as the policy is concerned, they are heavily relying on only subsidies because
Yes, yeah, that's the talking factor.
I remember, Supreet, I mean, as you
Yep.
mentioned rightly, that when we were covering on front page, and we will continue to cover it
Right.
in terms of Andhra Pradesh's surge,
Yes.
one thing that stood out for me time and again, was the speed factor. The
Exactly.
speed of allocating land, the speed of going ahead and approving, all of those factors. So, do you not think
Absolutely.
that
I
that
think
is also something which is a differentiator?
yes, I think that's also a differentiator and a positive side. Of course, the land aspect is on a positive side as well, but industry analysts want that don't concentrate your policy on this
Fair enough.
factor, just this factor. But yes, one of Andhra's crucial factors in success has been the speed of doing business in terms of the communication between the government and the private sector.
Right.
You know the social media posts that speak for themselves. Nara Lokesh time and again
Yes,
has said
yes.
that we're out here, we're listening to people.
Of course,
we're
his father,
listening
of
to
course, came and spoiled the finale of the entire series of announcements.
I mean,
You remember that one?
right? So, I mean, they're continuously talking with people, and they also claim that they have a bunch of policies and initiatives that speed up the communication or fast track windows for deployment of these incentives and initiatives. So, sure, I think accelerating and speed of doing business is quite high in Andhra Pradesh. That has been a crucial factor in their success.
So, you, according to, as far as your study, as far as your understanding, as far as your detailed analysis, as far as NASCOM is concerned, and their contribution,
Right.
how would you like to conclude the first myth? How would you like to debunk it?
See, the first myth, right, in terms of at least how people think, when they say that, okay, Andhra is giving you land at a very cheap cost, one, we've established that only that is not going to be enough.
Agreed.
And the second aspect is don't use this as an aspect to compare it with Karnataka.
Okay.
Right? Because if you look at the IT exports state-wise, this is an infographic that I got from Upsurge.
Sure.
So Karnataka has 4.09 lakh crore.
Wow.
Right? And Andhra Pradesh has roughly around 3,000 crores. That's
Which is
huge
a
factor.
huge yawning gap.
Right? This is in no means to say that, okay, Andhra is lagging behind
Not
or
at all.
Andhra. This is not a critique because Andhra is catching up. But it is to say that Karnataka is miles ahead.
Sure.
Right? They've established the IT ecosystem.
Yep.
One of the first to do in the country since decades.
Been championing it for
Exactly.
so
And
long.
they've had a very strong hold on the country's ecosystem. So, in terms of a comparative sense, the land aspect in Andhra Pradesh is just to purely get a good head start.
Okay.
Right? Because things aren't operating like it was before. People are not just looking at one state. And we're talking about Karnataka and other states also vying for
Yeah,
IT
yeah,
investments. So, yeah, it's an important factor. It's a crucial factor.
But it's not the
exactly. It's not the only thing that they
only
need.
thing that they
right?
need to, yeah.
Incentives. First, two things. Incentives are not the only thing that there is with Andhra Pradesh. You also have the ease of doing business and other factors that we'll get into. And it's also not the only thing that it needs. So I think we've pretty clear with what our audience needs to know about the land incentives part.
Fair enough. Of course, before we move on to our second myth, which is going to be about the low-cost back office aspect as far as Andhra Pradesh is concerned, I want to clarify again that Supreet and I are not sitting here today to make sure that we are debating whether it's Andhra Pradesh better or Karnataka is better. That's not what we are trying to do. We are trying to ensure that we are trying to give clear facts. And as you would see, as the show flows, that is probably what we want to achieve by the end of it all.
Right.
So if we do comparisons, please understand that it's only our way of trying to bring out the clarity of tone and the story that we are trying to project to everyone.
True.
The second one is Supreet, and of course the fact that MachineCon 2025 is taking
I
place.
think when we talk about back office, when we talk about global capability centers, we cannot not talk about
MachineCon.
AIM's MachineCon
Yes.
event,
Which is
the
exclusively, you want to plug that in?
right? I think it's exclusive to all of the
GCC heads.
Yep, all
It's
of
a
the GCC
residential
heads.
summit.
Yep.
And it is an invite only. And it's happening at Supreet's most favorite and coveted spot, where he goes very often
I don't
to
but,
speculate and wonder about life, which
mean the
is
pantry?
not Sri Lanka, which is Goa.
Wow.
So yeah, so MachineCon 2025, 29th, 30th and the 1st. This is for GCC heads. Of course, now coming to the second myth, which is Andhra Pradesh isn't just a low-cost back office, Supreet. So, is Andhra Pradesh actually building a high-end technology capacity or just back office scale?
Right. No, it's not just about back office and cheap labor. But before we dive into why it isn't, let's also talk about it. The back office scenario in Andhra Pradesh. So again, bringing in the Karnataka aspect, it is home to over 50% of GCC in India. So again, there's no competition. Vizag and Andhra Pradesh are just getting started,
Sure.
right? And yes, the GCC ecosystem is booming in Vizag. Again, I'll have to repeat, the incentives are coming into play. But there's one caveat that NASSCOM also mentions, is that the policy is geared towards attracting Fortune 500 companies only. I think
Yeah.
if we were to go back to another image that I showed you from EDB, Andhra Pradesh's Economic Development Board's post, it says that the eligibility of a land incentive is strictly limited to Fortune or Forbes ranked firm or companies that have at least 1 billion in annual revenue.
Wow.
Right? I mean, I'm sure there must be some gray area here, but at least from what it says, NASSCOM critiques that, you need to seek development towards mid-sized GCCs or
A very incisive
mid-market.
point.
Yeah, you're going to start slow. I'm sure the ambitions are quite high, but even though Vizag and Andhra Pradesh are starting their journey in GCCs,
Correct me if I'm
yeah,
wrong.
yeah,
That is the sweet spot as on date, the
yeah,
mid-market
yeah, that's
GCC.
exactly.
Am
I
I
think,
right?
yeah,
That's
I
a
think
huge
that
surge there.
yeah, that's in all the rage right now in
Yes.
both Karnataka
Yes.
and India and Bangalore, of course. So yeah, that policy, people sort of critique it, like, why is it restricted to only Fortune 500 or the Forbes listed companies with $1 billion in revenue. So Andhra Pradesh could definitely benefit from moving towards the mid-market GCCs.
Sure.
Not moving, I'd say placing an equal emphasis on that, because you got to start small. And what if a mid-market GCC finds a lot of value in Andhra Pradesh and
Agreed.
Vizag, so that it is on the trajectory to be
Yeah, I
a
agree.
GCC with probably
Yeah.
$1 billion of revenue. So I think Andhra Pradesh needs to focus on that as well. But again, in comparison with Karnataka, again, we're trying to put this again and again. Andhra Pradesh is seeking new avenues, positioning itself as an alternative to the oversaturated markets in India. But Bangalore is still leading in terms of the back offices or GCCs out there. Now, while we mentioned some of the caveats, be it the excessive focus on land or the focus on just Fortune 500 or Forbes, listed or ranked companies with $1 billion in revenue, NASSCOM also suggests a few pointers or like a few avenues on how Andhra Pradesh can compete in a long-term and a sustainable way. Because
And this is very interesting.
yeah, because
when you were talking about Singapore Island earlier with me, I think
exactly, yeah. So you got to look into examples like Singapore or Dublin that we have today, booming global tech ecosystems,
Yes.
sort of doing everything in a phased manner, providing equal emphasis to each and every aspect. You look at Singapore, there's a great emphasis on quality of life, strict regulations that ensure hygiene, healthcare, or traffic,
True.
or just basic civil senses maintained. All of that sort of accumulate towards a great living environment.
And I want to point out here, they were not competing with them.
They're not competing, exactly. So you want to position yourself when Singapore, again, correct me if I'm wrong, the way I see it logically is that, of course, you have the powers in the West, you have Europe,
Yes.
and you have the United States, but Singapore ideally would want, in during those times, like, we want to be a hub for the East. We want to do whatever it takes so that people view us
see your
in an
point.
important sense, like we saw the United States or the UK or the West. So Andhra needs to picture themselves in that sense. You know what? You have Bangalore to the south and to the west, where someone in the east
Yes.
also has other very unique advantages, which we are going to talk about throughout this video. And of course, one is creating a specialized tech corridor, which is not just concentrating in Vizag, just have an array of industries across the state, across the belt, specialize in a few high growth verticals, high growth IT verticals, again, expand to the mid market GCCs, and alongside enhance your
Give
industry
an
in
example.
academia.
High growth verticals, when you're talking about high growth verticals. Give a few
So,
examples.
of course, you just don't look at services. You also enable the establishment of, AI focused GCCs. The talent is there in India.
wanted you to
The users are there in
shed light
India.
on that, yeah.
Exactly. And you also take a look at the SaaS industry that's going on. Of course, Salesforce and Oracle, they have a huge presence in India. So you look at that vertical as well. So you just build a good IT tech corridor. So everybody sees Andhra as an option, not just, okay, it's not just for
Just
data
a
centers,
back
not just for
office,
services.
GCC. Fair,
Yeah. Every industry is there. a services company has done well, a SaaS company has done well. The policies are working for industries of varied nature, so they come in. So the entire chain gets sort of linked together.
So
and
is that your very erudite way of saying that maybe they can take a book out of Karnataka's playbook?
Yeah, book out of Karnataka's playbook, the playbook which Karnataka took out of that's Singapore.
Yes.
All of the other tech corridors that we take an inspiration from. I think imitation is the best form of learning. I know it's flattery, but I'm not saying.
No, it's nice.
No, so I think just need to look at some of the success stories that has worked in the past, the mistakes that should not be repeated again. Going next to the industry and academia partnerships, a lot of India has
I think that's a big one.
India has few but has really high quality institutions.
Sure.
You got to ensure some partnerships with them, expand the establishment of more such institutions in Andhra Pradesh, along that belt, so that you have a regular connection and a conversation with the academic and the industry folks. And so now it's high time that job relevant skills or
Yes, I agree. Fully agree there.
yeah, the ecosystem where people need to be job ready. People don't.
Yes.
Everybody's just building products so fast. You don't have the time to get people, train them, and just staff them into a GCC or something. You expect people to be job ready, given the resources.
So
people
all the more
have in hand.
reason for them
Exactly,
to
yeah,
have the platforms available
Exactly.
for them to
Exactly.
upskill themselves, or for that matter, skill themselves.
And it goes back to the myth one that we spoke about, right?
yeah.
Again, I am sure people in Andhra Pradesh, the decision makers, aren't just saying, hey, you know what, we're only going to offer cheap
Offer,
land.
huh.
But that's the perception that's been built in social media. 99 paisa is synonymous with Andhra Pradesh's IT model.
Which tends to happen,
Yeah,
doesn't it,
but
Supreet?
it does. Again, that's
People
why we're
cherry
here.
pick.
That's why we're here to help you read between the lines.
Yes.
What is also needed is that you want to give them land, also give them with the talent that they need, also give them the proof of success that they need,
Sure.
which we're building across different IT verticals, and everybody knows that each aspect is successful. And again, when I go to the third point that NASSCOM states, position yourself as an alternative, right?
And yes,
exactly.
and not as indirect competition,
Exactly.
and going as loggerheads
And I'm
with
not
each
even,
other.
and they're not even saying position yourself as an alternative to Bengaluru or Karnataka. They're saying position yourself as an alternative to European, North American enterprises.
Forward-looking.
Look at a global scale.
Yes.
Don't look at what your neighbors are doing. That's
Correct.
also what Karnataka has done successfully. Right? They had no neighbor to.
Yeah, there's no harm.
Yeah, when Karnataka was establishing their IT ecosystem, they had no neighbor
No, I'm
to
talking
look
about
up
the
to.
fact that there's no harm to look at your neighbor.
Exactly, but the focus,
Yes.
how the narrative is driven. Oh, look at Karnataka, look
Correct.
at us,
Correct.
look at the world, look at everything that's going on.
Exactly,
there,
and I
right?
agree with you fully there.
Yeah. So, and then of course, boost your soft infrastructure. Besides just the large-scale investments in hardware, manufacturing, and all of that, increase your startup ecosystem, incubation centers, R&D parks, upskilling
very
initiatives.
important aspects.
Obviously, and Andhra Pradesh is doing that. NASSCOM just says scale
Just
that up
have
as
to-
well,
right.
proportional to the cost incentives and the land incentives that you have, right? So that's basically about how the things stand with getting in GCCs with Andhra Pradesh, and we've also established that Karnataka is miles ahead. There's no need to even compete. I think we just to deter, right? An understanding that comes easily with a cricketing example. Look at Virat Kohli or a Shubman Gill, right? If you were to pick a batsman for your fantasy team, you'd look into Virat Kohli as a no-brainer option. But there are things that come with it.
Every day, including Sundays
Yeah.
and
Every day,
Yeah.
right? Because of the history, because of the ability,
the legacy.
because of the skill that's there, right? But what are the odds that you don't pick him? Getting old.
Yes.
There's a lot of grey beard that's come out.
No,
Reaching-
Supreet, you're doing fine.
Not
oh,
me,
you're
not
talking
me,
about
him.
Kohli.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Okay.
At the fag end of his career,
Sure.
done a lot to prove.
Injuries have happened.
Injuries, yeah, might be saturated. So look at someone like a Shubman Gill. A lot of future ahead, worthy of your
Bright,
investments.
aspiring,
Exactly.
brilliant.
That's what Andhra Pradesh is doing. Karnataka has got everything. You might be safer putting your money there. In terms of sustainability, in terms of ensuring that the investments remain long term.
Yes.
But what do we also tell Shubman Gill? Shubman, your age is less. Doesn't what am I calling Shubman? He's not my cousin or something.
No,
Mr.
but
Gill.
you never know. It's, you do
Yeah,
know,
so yeah,
right?
when
That
we
he's
look
your
at
age.
when we look at him as a captain, we say don't just look at him because he's just young. Also tell him to focus on this long-term game. Ensure his legacy right now, the buzz that's
And
there right now.
interestingly, I'll just say something very simple, which is this, that Shubman will never compare himself with Virat.
Exactly. That's also what's happening here internally, right? So you expect him to ensure that he sustains the buzz.
Yes.
That's exactly what Andhra Pradesh is has to do. No? So people are telling them to do sustain the buzz, ensure you put in all the different aspects to sustain your USP of land incentives. So yeah, I think for your cricketing fans out there, we've had dull days in the last few days, but whatever. I'm
Let's
just
not
hoping.
go there, please.
Yeah, I'm
It's been a
hoping the
traumatic experience. But
example puts
finally,
some smile.
yeah. But in
But yeah,
conclusion, I believe to the third myth, Supreet and I believe that it's important to be forward-looking. It's important to actually take
exactly,
inspiration from
exactly,
a lot of the experience that your neighbor has had, and
exactly.
also be global in the outlook. Build on a much more aspirational plane and platform. Love thy
Right.
neighbor, but go beyond as well.
Right. And also, but the key aspect of that myth that we're trying to bust was that, of course, GCC is a lot of policies, a lot of advisory for Andhra Pradesh to get more of them into the picture. But what about their startup and the other, deep tech
Yes.
ecosystem that
Yes.
that Andhra Pradesh, many people often forget, even though it's much in the news because there's so much happening.
Correct.
Look, Andhra Pradesh is putting in tons of effort into that too, right? You have the space policy as you can see on the screen. Create 5,000 direct jobs, 30,000 indirect
For
jobs.
sure.
You have all the stats. They're putting in dedicated space industrial zones in Tirupati.
Amravati is a big
Yeah.
one.
Amravati's quantum leap that we've all
Yes.
seen. It's a city that we have a lot to look forward to
And
currently.
that's the wave that India doesn't want to miss out on,
Yeah,
the quantum
exactly.
wave. Yeah.
Exactly. So the quantum city in Amravati is something that all of us are looking forward to. It's in the initial stages of development. So there's a lot that's happening there, even in terms of the startup and a policy that Andhra has.
Yes.
You have a lot of grants. Each and every aspect is trying to get more and more coverage in terms of patents, support for exhibitions and fairs, interest subsidies, grants for women. I'm sure. Feel free to take a pause, look at all of these numbers. We're also going to link the official policies in the description for if you want to deep dive into that. So they've covered a bunch of initiatives and policies for that matter. They're not lagging behind.
Very encouraging.
Exactly. But again, because our goal right here is to also bring the other side of the story, which is
Sure.
Karnataka,
Sure.
way ahead, way ahead. And I might also say it in the sense of a bias because I have been a proud,
No, but let's be honest here, Supreet. It's not about the fact that we are sitting down here and
exactly.
trying to say, okay, this one's better because we have been ahead of the curve for so long because, well, they got out of the gates a lot
Exactly.
faster.
Exactly. I mean,
But the fact is that let's appreciate and applaud
100%. I
what
think
Karnataka has done.
right. I
And
mean,
consistently so.
consistently, I think in the BTS that you guys saw me there, Karnataka space tech policy, their ambition is on another level.
Yes.
Right. And they want to capture 50% of India's space economy by 2034. That's a huge ambition. And they also released their new IT policy, which we're also going to get into in a few seconds. And you also look at the stats of startups. You don't even want to bring Andhra into the competition. You have 53 unicorns in Bengaluru.
Wow.
And I think a stat I remember reading is Karnataka has around 10,000 registered startups with the Ministry of Industries compared to 2,000 in Andhra Pradesh. So the scales that we're looking at is completely different.
Huge void, a huge yawning gap.
Right? And
Sorry.
even for startups, right? If you're looking at a space that is less saturated, similar to how IT companies and GCCs are looking into, Andhra is just a viable alternative.
And I think also what's important to highlight here for everyone watching is the fact that we all understand that Bangalore is at some level or the other bursting at its seams. There is a saturation that has taken place, which I guess
True.
Supreet very
And we'll
mentioned.
get to the
But
saturation
it's beyond
point.
Bangalore.
Exactly. So when we talk about Karnataka, right, the next focus for Karnataka is they've had a huge chunk of investments in Bangalore over the last few decades. They've been extremely successful. They've played out well in the long term. Now, what's next for Karnataka? Their new IT policy incentivizes to go beyond Bengaluru.
Yeah.
Do you see what is happening for a state? This comparison is not between Andhra and Karnataka, but a state
Yes.
that's established how it wants to move forward in the IT
Yeah.
ecosystem versus a state that's relatively new in the picture and how it's progressing. The goal for you guys, for us, our learning experience is that how to picture two successful entities, geographical entities in terms of the way forward. You look at Karnataka, their IT policy heavily incentivizes companies to move away from Bengaluru. So that's their solution to move away from saturation. You have cities like Belagavi, Mysuru, Hubballi, Dharwad, Tumkur, all of them coming into picture. Mangaluru, of course, absolutely last but not the least. So you look at the new IT policy that we have here, and this is worth taking a double or a triple look at. From smart to green infra to future ready workforce, business support or market acceleration, which includes various incentives like setting up of new IT parks, reimbursement, all of them extend to beyond Bengaluru, right?
Yes.
Once again, take a pause, see what these incentives, say, because we're just not going to read it out. It's gonna
Because
put you to
also
sleep.
another thing which I feel, Supreet, I mean, I just thought of this, which was this, that as you just mentioned, there is a sense of maturity in terms of the policy
Exactly.
making, which is saying that, all right, we've learned from whatever legacy that we've created in Bangalore.
Exactly.
Let's try to share that and go beyond
Exactly.
and spread it
Exactly.
across the state.
Exactly. Now, one stat, if I were to pick out so that people get an idea of what sort of incentives that Karnataka is giving, look at that. Reimbursement of 50% of office rent for 1 year, capped at around 50 lakhs, depending on the employee size. Then you have, 100% reimbursement of electricity duty for over 5 years of
Huge,
operations.
huge
This is
incentives.
Karnataka's strength, has been their strength. Now they're expanding outside of
Yeah,
Bengaluru.
yeah.
So, this is their response to the competition, right? Companies now have two options. You want to move away from Bengaluru within Karnataka or just go to Vizag. Now that's the choice that companies have to
I
make.
mean,
And
talk
it's,
about a very simple cricket analogy again.
yeah,
That's insane bench strength.
exactly. I mean,
Truly is.
truly, you have so many cities, coming in.
Correct.
So it's at the discretion of the IT companies on what exactly they want to do, right? Now you have all of these incentives in Bengaluru as well, but so the key thing that now differentiates whether a company wants to come to Bengaluru, Karnataka, or Andhra Pradesh is the next myth that we're going to debunk.
Which is
If you
this
were to
one.
tell the audience what it is.
Basically, it's talking about the fact that we've understood we have taken a deep dive as far as data centers,
Yep.
etc. is concerned. But why do data centers depend on power and ports more than software talent?
So that's one tangible aspect. If companies were to look at Andhra Pradesh, unbeatable advantage that they offer is in terms of data centers, right? Geographical advantage, Vizag, just more cost effective land. They've acted very early on in terms of getting data centers on board. Yes, Mangaluru has also been an option for Karnataka, but for a lot of internal reasons that me and you can't sit and debate about or just opine, Andhra Pradesh has had the better chance. They've done a much
And
better job.
clearly, fair.
Yeah, they've done a much better
Credit
job.
where it's
Exactly.
due.
The policy is much more comprehensive. Their data center policy. Dude, in the newsroom today, the amount of data center announcements in Andhra Pradesh that's just come out. We're having to double check if it's the same announcement that's come out, and it is not, right? Look at this recently digital connection, which is a joint venture between Reliance
$11
Industries,
billion.
yeah, $11 billion, and of course the recent Google data center investment.
1,500 crores.
Yeah, and if a company's choice, again, I might be wrong, but this is from my learning and my analysis, if companies want to come to Andhra Pradesh or Vizag, their key factor is proximity to data centers.
Yes.
Big AI, whatever data centers. Karnataka also has a lot of data centers. I don't remember the number. It's not like Bangalore is left behind the scenes. But look at the lot of hyperscaler data centers that are coming in.
And let's not
Andhra
forget
Pradesh.
about the subsea cable as well.
Exactly. And yeah, that's a huge factor, right? Because I was speaking with the chief financial officer of SIFI, a
Right.
company who we did it.
500 megawatts, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, and their CFO told me a simple analogy. Think of these coastal regions in India as international airports, right?
Yes.
You have data coming in from every country, landing in a coastal area, and these cables can be plugged into data centers in the coast. That's huge advantage for
Huge.
a city like Vizag. And earlier, a colleague of mine, he said that he spoke to the very famous Mohandas Pai on as to why Vizag got the opportunity that Bengaluru didn't. And Mohandas Pai, the CFO,
Yes.
former CFO and board member at Infosys, says that Andhra left Karnataka behind due to its leadership, vision, and aggressive execution. Again, folks, the factor of speed that we spoke about earlier has come on in.
Which is trumping
Right,
everything,
exactly.
I believe.
And I quote, he said, Babu is a differentiator between any state getting big business, not Karnataka out there. He also, told us that, the Chandrababu Naidu, quoting him saying, he meets people, commits on the spot, and delivers. And maybe Karnataka might want more and more leaders like this.
Like that,
Like
yes.
that. I'm sure we have. Again, it's not for no reason. We've also got so many investments in the IT sector.
True.
Karnataka is doing well in terms of the leadership sense. But
I would
again,
say
there's
it's
also
very
aspiration.
enterprising.
Yeah,
I mean, in the outlook, it's very enterprising.
exactly. And Chandrababu Naidu is also praised, because he understands the business,
Yes.
acts fast. So they've cracked the code in knowing that, what, we got to act fast.
True.
But again, so the people at home, might complain. I'm going to play a little devil's advocate here, complain that, okay, why didn't Karnataka try hard? No, Karnataka, each state has its own priorities, right? Karnataka said, we're not going to trade sustain, because data centers, again, folks, the huge question is the long-term sustenance, conversations of a bubble, sustainability aspects. And Karnataka says, for now, we're not going to trade our whatever sustainability goals that we have for something like a data center. We're not going to give incentives for something that is going to churn a lot of energy. So our priorities are that, because remember, in Bengaluru, we're dealing with a lot of issues, with practical issues regards to sustainability.
Yes.
We've seen in summers how water supply gets hit.
Traffic.
Electricity, go on Bengaluru subreddit, you see a lot of electricity outage issues. It's good that they're prioritizing this. Each state has a different priority. Isn't fair to say that Andhra ate Karnataka's lunch. What if Karnataka's cuisine was entirely different?
And actually, that's what brings me to this
Exactly.
thought. And this is how we would like to go on to conclude in terms of
Exactly.
whatever we've been trying to shed light on, both Supreet and I, which is this, that we are not getting into an entire slugfest regarding that what Karnataka is doing, are they going, because I believe the government is cognizant and probably sensitive to understand the daily needs of its citizens. And I believe there have been some examples that you'd like to share.
Exactly. Let's take a look at some of the biggest issues that Bengaluru is facing right now. It's not the lack of data centers, it's the congestion of tech parks in Bangalore and also the traffic that's out there, right? So what is Bengaluru doing, Karnataka government doing? They've responded. They want to go beyond Bengaluru.
Yes.
So, and the traffic has been a huge problem here, and they've acknowledged it. I think without any political bias. I think whenever we have met as a media to Priyank Kharge, he acknowledges that there are problems.
There are issues.
Whatever efforts are being done, it's being
you were mentioning the purple line.
Exactly. I think it has come late, very late. I won't lie. The IT corridor is now being connected with metro lines, right? Things are being done. There are discussions of the tunnel road. I am not sure whether, lot of mixed opinions. I'm not the right one to comment whether it's good or bad. But again, there have been efforts in terms of infrastructure. So these are Karnataka's priorities right now. There's no shortage of bringing IT companies here, right? Andhra needs that. They need a next factor to sort of propel themselves, and data centers have been that, right? And also, each state has its different priorities, and so the key narrative that we're here for is the point gets diluted, right?
Which is finally
what
Supreet and I both believe in. Before you go on to the next slide.
Exactly. So let's say if there are data centers coming in Andhra Pradesh, people believe that, Andhra is benefiting. No, the entire country is going to benefit.
Country is benefiting. Exactly.
I'll give you a simple futuristic example before we get into how already we're benefiting from it. Let's say Google's AI data center gets established well, up and running in Vizag. Google Cloud gets cheaper. Startups, which state has the most startups in the country? Karnataka. They're going to use Google Cloud at maybe lesser prices. They're going to get better support, right? They're going to get whatever AI workloads.
We want to clarify this because Supreet and I were debating this earlier. So we want to clarify this. It's not like Google cannot share the data with Karnataka and because it's established in Andhra Pradesh, etc. That won't happen. It's a private player.
Exactly. And these political conversations get these narratives into people's heads that, what if Andhra doesn't share their data center capacity?
Can't happen.
That's not going to happen. At best, they might give it at a subsidized rates for companies that are in Andhra, right? That's their state. They're going to favor locals, as every state should. So that's there. Karnataka is going to benefit. And folks, look at what me and you are using. ChatGPT goes free for a year. Gemini is free for a year. And these are, I believe, given for free on a future-looking benefit that India can offer through its data centers. Now, Indians can offer a lot to the development of these AI models in terms of training data. The data center is obviously going to create a huge demand and a huge need to establish more and more AI workloads in India, within India. So the moves have already been made. Me and you are benefiting from these large-scale data center investments in Vizag, for that matter, right? So all of us are going to reap the benefits.
We are talking about space tech. We are talking about a startup ecosystem which is flourishing. We are talking about GCC investments. We are talking about a quantum wave. We are talking about all of these factors, and most importantly, finally, it is something which I believe is so important that we all are proud of and we embrace and we echo time and again.
Yep.
It is how India is becoming a very, very important node
Right.
in the conversation as far as compute is concerned
Right.
globally.
Right. That's everybody's going to benefit. My conclusion to this entire debunk
Please.
is that I feel most of us, again, this is my opinion, look at it less from a political angle. Because I'll tell you one thing, Sudhi. If Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka had the same ruling party, the exact same things might be going on in Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka.
Fair.
The conversation would be entirely different. You wouldn't have tweets or posts on X like, oh,
But that's a
neighbors.
wonderful photo. Where did you get it from?
I clicked it in. No, this is from Nano Banana Pro, who Sudhi and Mohit had a really fascinating debunk last night. Make sure to check that out. This is from Nano Banana. Please don't reshare it saying Priyanka Kharge and Nara Lokesh met and shook hands. Don't be that
This didn't
guy.
happen at BTS.
Yeah, I'm just clearly saying if only, and I swear if any of you remove the watermark and share it, yeah, I'll come to your home and plug out the internet connection, then ask for more debunked. So just, dude, it's because of the political conversation,
Fair.
political difference. If Andhra and Karnataka had the same government, I would probably see things like, oh, Andhra and Karnataka have announced an MOU for talent and knowledge transfer.
Nice.
You know, this data center is going to benefit in Karnataka. The benefits of a conducive ecosystem would be more spoken about. People, this is just a media and a political
And I think
angle.
that is what we are unfortunately losing out
Exactly.
in the noise.
And competition is great. Let me tell you, if
It is.
Priyanka
Nara
Kharge
Lokesh said it.
Priyanka Kharge and team are sort of pumped up by the investments in Andhra Pradesh, sure. It's great for us, right?
Yes.
They're gonna be more, it's a healthy competition. I'm sure both of them agree. Nara Lokesh even once said that, you know,
It's good that states compete with each other. It
Right.
finally benefits the country.
exactly. And someone like a Priyanka Kharge, you know, he has his own set of focus. He's
Sure.
doing that. We've seen in BTS how laser focused it was. Again, this is coming without a bias. We've covered that on ground for the previous 3 days. Each state has its priorities, Andhra and Karnataka. Let's look at it less from political angle.
Let's not
Politicians are
politicize
gonna-
it.
Yep.
Finally, I believe Supreet and I, hopefully, have been
Yep.
able to bring a certain amount of light to this entire conversation, because you know what? The stakes are only going to get higher. You know, there are going to be more announcement, and there is going to be a lot more of this noise which will keep popping up.
Exactly.
So let's actually cut through all that
Yep.
and try to make sure that you read between the lines. That's why we
Right.
do Debunked.
And exactly, and a lot of people might say, oh, AIM does a lot of videos. I'll tell you how to watch it. Watch the front page for the facts. You want to understand the deeper philosophy behind the facts. Don't go to Twitter. Don't go to any other clickbaity site. Come back to Debunked. Wait for a week until we get our things sorted. I'm
Absolutely.
going to tell you how to view these numbers. You know, take a chill pill. Understand the. Wouldn't say the truths. Nobody knows the truth.
Nobody
but
knows the
understand a balanced and a neutral view. That's going to keep you sane. Not jump into arguments on Twitter.
Or jump into other things also.
Yeah, and don't just have some pride that's not necessary. We're all 1.4 billion people. I think that's my conclusion. The beneficiary of the Andhra and Karnataka
Wonderfully said.
debate is just the 1.4 billion Indians that we have, where union of states, time and again, we have to remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, before we get into politics and aspects that we're not experts about, it's better we end the segment. I hope all of you had a wonderful time watching me and Sudhi. Yeah,
Yeah, that's always fun.
that's always fun.
That's needless to say.
Yep.
And of course, please use Nano Banana very, very responsibly.
Very responsibly, and it's not a joke. We're telling it to you, from someone who just speaks a lot about AI. Please use it responsibly. Don't do
Fair enough.
this nonsense.
Finally, we'd just like to say very quickly that today was a very refreshing conversation that both Supreet and I have had. We've thoroughly enjoyed that conversation. I hope that we've been able to bring the facts and the figures for you to decide. That this is not a war, it's not a
Yeah,
slugfest.
absolutely not.
It's something that we really hope is benefiting, and we know it is, on a much larger level that we are not being able to see right now.
Absolutely.
And that's what we are trying to do on Debunked and on AIM Network constantly, trying to make sure that we are seeing what is going to happen before it happens.
And spoiler alert: if you're someone working at an IT company or a startup, stay tuned for the next episode of Debunk because you wouldn't want to miss that.
Nicely done.
Well, let's see them.
Think AI?
Think AIM.